thank you guys for having me first and foremost. I'm very honored to be on here with Bianca and you, Julian. So thank you so much. And welcome to everyone from all around the world.
I think I was born to be an athlete.
A four-time All-American and a three-time gold medalist, Carrie Wall-Jetting.
The Olympics themselves could have been canceled. And to me, if it's between postponing or canceling, I'm just so grateful that I was postponed for a year. And to me, in my mind, from that moment that they decided to postpone it, I'm like, oh my God, amazing. I have 365 more days to become even better than I am today. I have a whole nother year to get more connected with my partner, become the best team in the world. And we're going to take advantage of every single day of this. And so the moment this was announced, everything shifted from I'm going to win gold in August to I'm in off season now and I don't know when my season's going to start. So my job is to live mindfully, to focus on that which I can control, and play the cards that I've been dealt to the best of my ability. And I think that's all any of us can do in a situation like this.
Big wave surfing, I would define as 15 feet or more.
I just want to say too that I'm really excited to be here, and Carrie's like one of my heroes, and so just so stoked to be a part of this webinar. For training for big waves, it's funny because COVID and all the uncertainty is actually really a lot like what we are used to, because you never know when you're going to have the moment to catch the biggest wave because nature is in charge of that. And we can make predictions and forecasts and read forecasts. And, but when it comes down to it, you just always have to be ready.
Your life is such a metaphor for like real life. It's like you have to be ready and you have to be primed. And our habits are what allow us to be primed, and they allow us to deal with uncertainty, and so that's why I choose to live a really healthy, mindful life. And sometimes it's like with this situation, it's so crazy. It's so out of our hands. It's kind of like the pressure's off. Like now I can just focus on me. And so my strategy with dealing with these times is exactly how it is on the court. I need to focus on what's working, focus on what I want, and focus on what I can control. Like life is hard, but in hardships, that's where we develop our grit and our character and all of these things that you can't really train in life until you're put into hot water. And I'm a big believer that the masters, that the people who change the games, the Biancas of the world, the Julians of the world, you guys are that way because you challenge yourself consistently, and you sign up for stuff. And so for me, something else that I try to do is I try to act like no matter where I'm at in my life, a hard situation, a great situation, a situation I would never choose, I try to own it. And I try to act like I chose it. Because once I do that, my entire system and the universe, I believe, helps me to step up to that challenge. But if I feel victimized by it, I'm going to be a victim forever and my power is gone. There's a quote that I love and it says, you cannot be a victim and a master at the same time. I want to be a master of every situation. I've been through hell on earth, not of my own choosing or making, but I've been in it and I've owned it and I've gotten out of it. And I feel like that's the opportunity with all of us. Not that it's easy. All of this is hard. All of this takes reps and practice.
Bianca, you are dealing in a world where, one of the world's most dangerous sports. I suppose there's the fear of not performing it to the level you want to be at, but then there's the very real fear of you could die. And you've had situations where you're riding these menacing, massive walls of, water, and where you've been held under and where you thought that was it. So how do you deal with that sort of fear?
When I first got into surfing big waves, I had a near-death experience at Ocean Beach here in San Francisco. All of a sudden, there was like this wave the size of a house. I had never seen a wave like this, like squaring off right in front of me. And it was just going like tall and 2 stories tall and then 2 stories wide. And it was just 10 feet in front of me about to break. And I was just like, I guess I'm going to duck dive, and it just dove under and immediately was getting spun around and ripped around and ragdolled and like being in a washing machine. And then I opened my eyes and it was all black. And I had no idea which way was up. And then my foot touched the ground and I was like pressed off the bottom. and was barely had enough energy to get to the surface. And I thought to myself in that moment, like, if there's one more wave, I'm gonna die. And I just didn't even have a moment to feel emotion about it. It was just like a fact. And I came to the surface, and luckily there was not another wave. Obviously, I'm here. And I was just gasping for air, and my whole body was convulsing and trembling and pins and needles. And then I saw my friend who was right next to me, and he was fine too. He's like, I'm going in. I said, oh yeah, me too. And when we got to the beach that day, I just stared out at those waves thinking like, those waves are big, beautiful, perfect waves. And I know that I have the skill to ride those. And it's just a matter of putting in the training. You know, you have to sit with fear and learn how to overcome it and learn different tools and tricks. And also the physical part does, you know, strengthen your mind and give you that courage. And I mean, it's just like right now, like we can focus on how scary it is that everything's so uncertain, or we can be excited about the fact that we have extra time to train for the gold medal.
It's not about becoming fearless. That would actually be dumb. Like your fear serves a purpose. He's like, it's about becoming braver. And so the fact that Bianca went right back out there, I mean, that's gnarly. That is, I mean, next level as far as I'm concerned. And then when it comes to my job, it's just, I think recognizing that fear and scary times and big moments are part of it. But if you can be in the moment, that's like the antidote to anxiety or fear or stress. It's like coming back to the moment. You know, if I just made a mistake, I need to take a deep breath in through my nose, out through my mouth. The way you talk about things is really important. So be mindful of the words you choose. And then he's like, next time you're in a stressful situation, whether it's in volleyball, you know, the game's on the line, whatever it is, don't think of it as a big moment. Think of it as a competitive moment. And the moment he said that to me, you guys, it was like the hugest weight lifted off my shoulders. Like, I'm not great at many things in life, but I am a world-class competitor, period. I know that about myself. And so the moment he said that, it was so beautiful and so empowering. And now I'm just like, I'm here. I'm here to compete. And I have tactics where I bring myself back to the moment. But ultimately, as hard as I train, which is probably 5 to 6 hours a day, right now I'm probably 2 to 3, I recover just as hard. You know, I prioritize sleep. I prioritize my nutrition. And then again, my mindset is something that just allows everything to work together.
Yeah, I watch videos a lot and then analyze like how would I want to ride that wave differently, or I see somebody who's catching like a wave way better than I've ever caught and imagine myself doing that, and I really like put myself through the feeling of like that very moment where my heart is beating out of my chest and like the wave is here and I'm in the spot and it's time to go. It's like 1, 2, 3 go, and you don't know if you're going to make it, but you make 0% of the waves that you don't go for.
Those mental reps after watching film, I can really refine my skill and my craft, my technique mentally. And then when I go out there, it's like I've had 10 practices, you know, but it's just been in my brain and I don't have all the wear and tear. So really it's Jedi stuff.
You know, Bianca, when you started surfing, you know, you were told that girls don't surf big waves. And you had a poster of Kelly Slater up on your wall because there really were no women surfers, right? So you wanted to be like him.
I never see any photos of women surfing or girls surfing, or like I wanted to be in it. And I'm like, well, I know I'm the best because I'm at the top of the podium, but I'm not in the magazine. That's when I realized that the opportunities for girls were not the same as for boys, and that the representation I was seeing was this really sexualized version of like the reef model in the G-string bikini. And that just pissed me off. And I went through like what Carrie was talking about, that burnout feeling of just being like, hey, this sucks. And then big waves sort of just like sparked my passion, like, and that creativity to have me imagine what's possible and just to stay focused and always going back to that, like, no matter what, every single day I can wake up and choose to go ride a better wave and nobody can take that away from me. the wave itself is majestic. You're out a mile out into the ocean, and it's the water's calm. And if you look back at the land, you see mountains and just beautiful open space, some houses, and then just out of nowhere, a swell that's been traveling for thousands of miles shows up, and it goes as wide vertically as wide horizontally, and then drops out vertically, so it like is below sea level, and it's just this crazy transformation of energy that is so majestic.
I can't even fathom this. Like, what is your self-talk like waiting and like when you're, kind of taking the wave?
I love this. I live for this. I got this. I belong here.
I find inspiration in everybody. And how I look at competition now is that the greatness in you is there to bring out the greatness in me. And instead of feeling intimidated or wanting to run away or being a little bit fearful of how great someone is, I'm like, okay, kind of like Bianca said, I'm born for this. I signed up for this. I want this. I want to be people at their best. And that's kind of how I frame my entire life. I think it's a sign of respect to try to absolutely demolish someone. Doesn't mean I need to be an a-hole and talk trash and do these things, but I respect you, and therefore I'm going for the win with everything that I have. If I were to hold back, that would be a sign of disrespect as far as I'm concerned.
I do have a competitive fire, and at the same time, being the best is like being my best. You just have to come to terms with a new definition of winning. And so that definition is like, I'm going to literally ride a better wave every day.
It's important to note that that's why like having meaning and purpose behind what you're pursuing is so important. Like knowing your why, because you're going to suffer for everything you care about in life, whether it's love, whether it's the next wave, the gold medal, the journey, like you're going to suffer on the pursuit. And so that's why having meaning allows you to endure. They're like my children. I can't just show one of them. So first one, Athens, Beijing, London, and then this bronze, which is the fuel to my fire. This is from Rio. And it's a big reason why I'm still going, because I need to change the color of that medal.
This has been such a rich, amazing conversation, but any parting words for our attendees?
I would say go all in. There's no hedging of bets and plan Bs when you want something. So I would just say go all in with all your heart.
For me, I want to share that like no matter who you are or what you do, whether it's in the water or out of the water, every single day when you wake up, you can make that choice to ride a better wave. And so that's what I'm waking up every day thinking, and I invite you to do as well.
It's not the weight you carry, it's the way you carry it. And I think especially in these days where, the days are heavy, we're all dealing with heavy stuff. The world is going through heavy stuff. How are you going to carry your weight? Because we all have it. And so I know how I want to carry it with my shoulders, my head up, my shoulders back, with the attitude, I got this and I'm born for this. And I certainly would encourage you guys to do that.
Thank you for sharing your stories and your inspiration. And we are your fans.
All right.
Hey, you guys. Thank you.
Everyone.
Take care. Great job, girls.